What's going on, Dolphin fans? It's Mitchell Renz from Chat Sports. And coming up here, we got a lot of news and rumors to cover around the Dolphins. But before I do, dude, Valentine's Day, y'all, it's right around the corner. And today's show sponsor is Manscaped. If you haven't already figured out that these guys have the best male grooming products out there, go to manscaped.com, use code Dolphins at checkout. That's going to get you 20% off and free shipping. So what's going to be coming up here on today's show? Mike McDaniel, the Miami Dolphins' new head coach, he had his press conference today, and if you guys don't already know, a McDaniel press conference is like must-watch television. I'm going to break down some of the key thoughts that I saw out of it. We have more coaching news to take a deep dive into because yesterday there were some notes that I didn't have the opportunity to cover. And then a free agency rumor around the top offensive tackle, Terron Armstead. Could he be coming to Miami? So here's what Mike McDaniel had to say today. And again, I found a few awesome quotes. I have some takeaways, and I'm also going to throw in some stuff what Chris Grier and Stephen Ross had to say. You get into coaching because you love to coach football, you love to teach, and you love to make people better. That's who I have been and will be as a coach of the Miami Dolphins. It didn't take me long to realize this was the place I was meant to be, so I better not mess this interview up. McDaniel went ahead and said, man, he was super nervous about the entire interview. He knew he wanted the job from the very get-go. He also said that he really wasn't worried or there were no red flags whatsoever in the entire hiring process. He was regarding everything that happened with Stephen Ross, but at the end of the day, it looks like he was a really happy dude. Here's what Chris Grier had to say, and Grier threw in a few other thoughts, but I like this one. It's been a good month in trying to find the right man to lead the Miami Dolphins. As we went through the process, it was Mike McDaniel. Now, I did a lot of covering here on this channel about trying to figure out who was going to be the next head coach, and McDaniel was one of the top guys that I brought up. I also know it was the top guy that y'all wanted. So after everything you heard today from McDaniel, from Ross, from Chris Grier, if you're excited that Mike McDaniel is the next head coach of the Miami Dolphins, I want you to go ahead and smash that like button. I don't know about y'all. I mean, I know that you guys should be pretty excited about this entire move. When I heard McDaniel got hired, I was like, well, sometimes you can learn a lot from a coach from either past players or past coaches, and the fact that old coaches in the NFC West were literally calling up the Dolphins to hire this guy just so he'd get the hell out of there, I think that speaks volumes of what type of coach he is. And then on top of that, I saw this really awesome quote from 49ers wide receiver / running back Deebo Samuel on what he had to say about McDaniel. I love that guy to death. He's one of the best coaches I've been around. He's not just a coach, but he's a mentor, a leader. He's a guy that I would love to be around outside of the stadium. And you're actually hearing that a lot, that McDaniel isn't only just a cool guy on the field, but he's a really cool guy to hang out with off the field. And in terms of a young football team that Miami has, being able to bring in somebody like this, I do think is a really crucial part. Now, here's what McDaniel needs to do in year one, and these are some of the notes that I personally was trying to wrap my mind around. You need to go ahead and win games right away, right? Brian Flores was 10-6, then the Dolphins were 9-8. You need to go ahead and improve on those numbers, or else there's going to be some Dolphin fans out there that are like, wait a minute, why did this guy get the job? You got to get Tua to improve, whether that's taking care of the football better, whether that's him stretching the ball down the field. Tua needs to make a leap in year 3. Build an offensive line. One of the biggest weaknesses of this entire team has been, how can the Dolphins build an offensive line? They need to go ahead and do it. Establish a balanced offense. He is going to be the one calling the plays, so you got to be able to attack through the air and on the ground. And the defense. The defense needs to stay at a high level. I get it. They were the 6th best defense in 2020. About 21 this past year. They were definitely closer to the top 10. It's just the offense couldn't stay on the field. This is what McDaniel needs to do. Now, shout out to Manscaped, because today is a very special day for them. Today they're actually launching their Ultra Premium Collection, and usually it's $49.99. But if you go to manscaped.com, use code Dolphins, you can get this for $39.99. If you're wondering, Mitch, what exactly is this Ultra Premium Collection? I'm glad you asked. This is an all-in-one skin and hair care for everyday man that covers you literally from your head down to your toes. I was going to sing that song from your head to your toes in a wanna, but I'm not going to do that to you guys. I do want you, though, to seriously go to manscaped.com, use promo code Dolphins. Personally, the way that I like to use this routine, you hop in the shower, you rub it up, dub on down there with the awesome body wash that they have. once you come up, or come out, lather your hair up with the 2-in-1 hair shampoo. Really awesome products there. Dry off, spray down with a hydrating body spray. That way you can moisturize your dry skin. On top of that, put on the Manscaped deodorant for, obvious reasons, right? And then finally, pop that Manscaped lip balm on just in case your loved one wants to go ahead and give you a nice little smooch right before Valentine's Day. The perfect gift for your man or, for you. All right, we also got some other coaching news and rumors to digest here on today's show because there was some other stuff that happened, which I'll get to in a second. But one of the things that I knew a lot of people were going to ask is, what did Mike McDaniel had to say about Tua Tagovailoa? And this is what he had to say. The biggest thing with me and Tua is I want him to come in every day and work. And I believe he will. Ultimately, all you want is a guy that is driven to be great and gives you a chance. It's my job. He showcases his talents. So the 4 people that were basically the frontliners today at the McDaniels conference, and if you guys want to be overachievers, if you want to comment on this picture of Mike McDaniel, Stephen Ross, Chris Grier, and then Tom Garfinkel, you can go ahead and do so. One of the interesting notes that I also heard Stephen Ross said was the chain of commands. This is going to be the chain of commands for the Dolphins. So Mike McDaniel, he will report to Chris Grier, general manager. Chris Grier will report to Tom Garfinkel. Tom Garfinkel will report to Stephen Ross. Now, I've also heard some people say that Stephen kind of twisted his words in that, and at the end of the day, McDaniel's going to report to Grier. Grier can then report to either Garfinkel or Stephen Ross, the owner, but that's going to be the chain of commands in Miami. So after seeing that, what are your thoughts on it? Because obviously, everything that Brian Flores had to say, all the allegations up against Stephen Ross right now, I do personally think that Ross needs to make better decisions as an owner. I've never been a big fan of Chris Grier as a general manager. Personally, I would like Mike McDaniel to have more power than Grier, but at the end of the day, that was the decision that Stephen Ross made. We do have some more Miami Dolphins coaching news and updates to take you guys through because early this morning, I'm looking at all these updates, and I noticed that the Dolphins went ahead and they hired, or they're expected to hire, John Ambree, tight ends coach and assistant head coach now of the Miami Dolphins. This was basically his role for the 49ers last year, so it's a little bit of a lateral movement for him, but I also think it speaks volumes that anytime in the National Football League you can get a coach to make a lateral movement, it speaks very, very highly of what type of guy you're bringing in as a head coach. Personally, I thought Ambree did a great job with George Kittle, and everyone out there was like, oh, George Kittle was always elite. It's actually not 100% true. George Kittle was always a great athlete, but Kittle could not say enough nice things about Ambree. And one of the things that I love that Kittle said was like, Ambree literally looked at Kittle and was like, dude, you're gigantic. You're a heck of an athlete. Try to run through people. And Kittle was like, honestly, ever since I heard that, the light clicked on. In terms of who are some of the tight ends here for the Dolphins, you have Mike Gesicki, though he's a free agent, Adam Shaheen, Durham Smythe, Hunter Long, who you drafted in the 3rd round out of Boston College, and then Carter, who can be used as a tight end / fullback. He's a good overall athlete. So my question to all of you is this. You bring in a coach like that, I honestly believe whoever's going to be the tight end for this Dolphins team is going to have a major significant role. Who's going to be the Dolphins tight end 1? Do you bring back Mike Gesicki? I mean, I personally would. I think he's one of the better pass-catching tight ends in the National Football League. Or, feel like, you know what? We went out, we made a move for Adam Shaheen last offseason, and then we also went out and drafted Long. Do you rock and roll with those guys? Let me know down in the comments who will be the Dolphins tight end 1. If you thought that was going to be the only update I kept you guys up to date with, sounds weird, but whatever. They also are going to retain their special teams coordinator, Danny Crossman. So I know there's been a lot of turnover, and a lot of times when you bring in a brand new head coach, there's going to be some new guys coming in and other dudes leaving. But for Danny Crossman, he's staying. To make sure you guys never miss anything going on around the Miami Dolphins, I want you to go ahead, hit that sub button, and turn on those notifications because during the offseason, y'all, tons, and I mean tons of stuff ends up happening, and it is so important to make sure that you never miss a thing. If you haven't already subscribed, click the sub button, turn on those noties. If you are one of our loyal subs, take that link that you see down below, send it to some Dolphins fans. All right, the last story that I'm going to bring up here is a rumor, and it's from Bleacher Report. They went ahead and they released an article trying to predict some of the top free agents and where they could potentially land in 2022. So, Terron Armstead was projected to go to the Miami Dolphins. He's the top offensive tackle in this free agent class, and offensive tackle is the biggest need right now for the Dolphins. Now, obviously, when you have a lefty quarterback like Tua, you know, when we talk about blindside, we talk about the right tackle position, not the left tackle, and Armstead is, in fact, a left tackle. So that's one of the interesting things that you're going to bring up here, because usually the left tackle is the highest paid guy, but you can make the argument in Miami, maybe it should be the right tackle. Here's what Bleacher Report had to say on Armstead and overall his projection to go to Miami. The only knock on Armstead is that he is hitting free agency at 30 years old, but he should be thanking Trent Williams for setting a precedent that he can still get paid. Williams signed a 6-year, $138 million contract at age of 33, and according to Spotrac, Armstead's market value should set him up with a 4-year, $95.8 million contract. With the Saints starting the offseason $76.2 million over the cap, so that means in the hole. That's too much for them. There are a few teams that can afford that kind of deal that are desperate for offensive line help. So, for me, when I look at this Dolphins offensive line, right, I like Liam Eichenberg. Personally, I think he's built to be a little bit more of a guard. Austin Jackson's been an absolute eyesore. Jesse Davis needs to improve. From top to bottom, this offensive line needs to get better because it's one of the worst units in the entire league. And if you have a chance to go out and get to Armstead, I get it. That's a lot of money, basically $96 million. But you need to be able to figure out whether or not Tua is your future. So, should the Miami Dolphins go out and sign Terron Armstead? I want you to type Y for yes or type N for no. I know it's a lot of money, but the Dolphins right now have the most projected salary cap at about like $67.6 million. So for that reason, yes, if Armstead's healthy at 30 years old, if you have a chance to go out and get a dude like this, you absolutely have to do it.